Yo, 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 what is going on, CoD Familia? It is your boy BN, aka Mr. Kingdom Builder, and today's video is somewhat exciting, but just for maybe not all the right-ish reasons. And I say that because you guys know I'm a fan of doing my top 25 series. Today, instead of doing the top 25 strongest kingdoms, we're going to do the top 25 deadest kingdoms, / weakest kingdoms, / lowest powered kingdoms, / kingdoms that are 6 feet under the soil in the game right now. A couple disclaimers as always to mention. Number one, if you enjoy the content, make sure you throw us some, because it helps out a lot. Number two, this data was collected over the past 2 days, so from the 13th to the 14th of June. Number three, is that any of the numbers that you see if you were to go and check these kingdoms in game, keep in mind they can fluctuate and will most likely be different than what I'm showing you here post-video. Watch. Number four, I always go through and I pull the data first, and we go back and get screenshots, so you may notice some power or number variances. Number five, if you want to be able to get access to the public version of the spreadsheet, which this is the master, I always upload these at least 24 hours after I put out the top kingdoms, or we put out our top stats. You can find that on my Discord. If you join, link to that in the pinned comment description, you will just simply go to here, reaction rolls. You go to callofdragons, fourth from the left. You will scroll down to where it says CoD data stats, and it's going to be the top link there. Okay. Let's go ahead and get into this. Now, we're going to show you the top 25, and then at the end, I'm going to give you my thoughts and also give you some tips on how you can utilize dead inactive kingdoms, and then what should we even do about dead or inactive kingdoms. I may give some short thoughts there because I'm probably going to make a separate video on this, but without further ado, let's jump in. At number 25, we have Kingdom 194, 661 total million power, and this is where we look at kingdoms 1 or alliances 1 through 7, and I also tell you the total alliances. So if you ever notice that this number here in column G is lower than 7, that means that there's 6 or less total alliances that currently exist. So this combines for 661 out of these 6 alliances, and 194 at number 25. Number 24, we have Kingdom 176, 655 million, and yes, this is right, these kingdoms are under 1 billion total power. Number 1 alliance is 491. They have 13 total alliances here. Number 23, Kingdom 145. They are at 643 million power. Top alliance is 606 million. They have 4 total alliances. Number 22, Kingdom 174. They're at 635 million power. 504 million for number 1, and they have 7 total alliances here. Number 23. Or sorry, was 22. I have to remember. I'm doing this the other way. Number 21 is a Kingdom 168. Hopefully, I said all those numbers right. 623 million power. Number 1 is 542 million. 10 total alliances here in this kingdom. At number 20, we have Kingdom 172, 546 million power. Number 1 is 312 million. We have 11 total alliances here in 172. Breaking through the top 20 into the number 19, we have 196, which is funny to say that because these are dead inactive-ish kingdoms. 533 million power. Top is 320 million. 12 total alliances that exist at the moment. At number 18, we have 133, 497 million, so lowering below 500 mil. For total power here, top alliance 424 million. Total alliances is 5. Number 17. Kingdom 166, 468 million power. Top alliance is at 393, and there's 3 total alliances here in 166. Number 16, we have 163, 442 million power for total. Number 1 alliance 436, 3 total alliances that exist at the moment. Now to the top 15. At number 15, 144, 405 million power. Top alliance is 400 mil, and there's 4 total alliances here in 144. At number 14, Kingdom 161, 379 million power. Top alliance, or number 1 is 290. 6 total alliances exist here in 161 at the moment. Number 13, 143, 366 million power for total kingdom. Top alliance 294. 7 total alliances exist at the moment. Number 12, we have 149, 366 million power. Top alliance 356. 3 total alliances exist here in 149. At number 11, we have 157, like a little dust thing. 362 million power. Number 1 alliance is 173. Total alliances is 8 here in 157. Number 10, as we break into the top 10, Kingdom 141, 356 million. Top alliance 219 million. 5 total alliances exist here. At number 9, Kingdom 160, 351 million power. Number 1 alliance is 322 million. 4 total alliances exist here in 160. At number 8, we have 136, 343 million power. Only 1 alliance, which coincidentally is also the top alliance. And that does it for 136. Number 7, we have also breaking further in to the lower tier threshold of sub 400 million. Number 7 is 266. They're at 333 million power. Number 1 is 294, and there's 6 total alliances that exist here. Number 6, we have Kingdom 167, 282 million power. At number 1, we're sitting at the top, 267. 4 total alliances exist here in 167. Let's break in to the top 5. At number 5, we have 139, 273 million power. 239 mil for the top alliance. 3 total alliances exist here. At number 4, Kingdom 159, 253 million power. 250. Well, I was going to read that again, but then I just realized there's only 1 alliance here, so they're top and the only. Number 3, we have 164, 234 million power. Top alliance is 162 mil. 3 alliances exist here in total. At number 2, Kingdom 158, 220 million power, 197 mil for the top. 5 total alliances have been created. Let's get now to probably what will be a little bit of a shocker, but I'm sure all of these are. Number 1, Kingdom 148. They have not only sub 200, but went sub 100 mil. Their total power comes to 30 million, almost 31. Top alliance is 24 mil. 3 total alliances exist here. This is Kingdom 148. Keep in mind, we only went over the top 25, kingdoms here. But now let me get to my kind of 2 talking points, if you will. Number 1, what should we do about, and if anything, about dead kingdoms? And I'll keep this one brief because, like I said, I most likely will do a little bit of a deep dive on this in a later video. But I think there are a few ways to approach this. But I think one thing that comes to mind is, and this is something that I've said I would just love to see them do, is just to do hard merges, right, with these kingdoms. Keep in mind, the amount of active players here is so small by comparison to other mid and high range activity kingdoms that basically having them restart, if you will, on a single home kingdom, at the end of the day, unless they're really high powered and they're just milking the SLEs and a bunch of other events, right? That might be the only thing there. However, there's a big difference between low activity kingdoms and dead kingdoms, right? And these ones are very much dead. Yes, there are a few people that are active there, but not enough to sustain a whole or a well-rounded community, right? Or a thriving community. Now, some of the people there might say, yeah, we're thriving. Yeah, but let's be real, you're barely thriving. And so this is why it's important to look at, okay, well, what do we do about these? Now, first off, and this is why, again, I'm not going to get too much in the weeds here, but I'll throw you a bone and I'll say, the way that you address these kinds of situations is at the root. And the root is at the beginning, before the root is able to build itself, right, or to get too big. And the beginning is when the kingdom is created. And so this kind of goes into how are kingdoms populated, what are certain thresholds and levels that are required for hitting before new kingdoms release. And that's really where you get your first honest and quality attempt to address things like this before they get to this point. However, given where we're at now for these number of kingdoms, I like at least one of a few options in that you just basically take these kingdoms that are around. Like, you could take these top 25 dead kingdoms, you merge them all into one. However, they need to meet certain prerequisites. And a couple of these are that they need to at least have been up for, I would say, 2 seasons to where they've had an opportunity to go through 2 migration windows. And this gives them an opportunity to try to recruit people to go from being dead / incredibly inactive to potentially resurging themselves. And if they're unable to do so, then they would fall into becoming eligible for a forced merge. And then you would take these top 25 kingdoms, let's say they've all at least had 2 migration seasons or more, and then you just combine all of them and you make a new kingdom, right? And then at that point, you can either lower all the other kingdoms' numbers, or you keep all the other kingdoms' numbers the same, and then you just renumber all these kingdoms, right? You remove all these numbers or something. I mean, again, there's a number of ways you can do it. I don't think it's the end of the world. Even if you did just renumber everything going down. Yeah, sure, would it make it a little difficult to like keep track of where everyone is to an extent? I mean, kind of, but that's one of the reasons why you have me for, at least for now, right? But yeah, I mean, again, and like I said, this is just one way to do it. I like it because I just think it's straightforward. I think it's most effective. You know, Infinity Kingdom did something when I was playing that game where they would go through kingdoms starting from Kingdom 1, and they would look at certain kingdoms that were below a certain power threshold as a whole, and they would give these inactive or very low activity kingdoms the opportunity to migrate. So it was like an event. It was like a migration event that would come around once a month or something, and it would give players from these kingdoms an opportunity to free migrate out of those kingdoms and go into more active kingdoms. Now, I liked the approach. I just don't know if overall it is going to kind of solve everything unless you feel the need to like keep kingdoms alive forever, even if they're dead, right? And I think that's really what we're talking about is now, it obviously doesn't really do anything for us as a community. It doesn't affect us in any kind of a negative way. And then we kind of get into the second part of it, which is, okay, well, how can these kingdoms be utilized? How can you benefit from a dead or incredibly inactive kingdom? Well, these kingdoms can be repopulated breeding grounds, if you will, right? An opportunity for a fresh start. And let's say you're in a kingdom and you have been trying to trim or get rid of dead weight, or you are looking to migrate out maybe because of just like poor circumstances. Maybe you want to leave and maybe try to get away from some rogues, whatever it may be. You can take all of your active players, that's 1-2 alliances worth, give or take, and you can all migrate to one of these kingdoms. Why? Because the fact is if you can get into a kingdom that has the lowest amount of total power, it's almost like being able to restart in a kingdom with your current power, where you have the lowest kingdom activity and migration status or influence, which we know is a factor, and with a number of sub-criteria that goes into influence, or player influence that factors into total kingdom influence for how many players you can get into a kingdom. So basically, if you're looking at prime real estate here, you know, you look at 148 and you're like, dude, this is the place to go. Like, if you're trying to get as many people into a brand new kingdom, you want to have the least amount of accounts in there, the least amount of power, because it means that the influence will be near zero, right, or as low as it can possibly be, which is a benefit to players and alliances that are looking for some good prime real estate to potentially move to, because it means they'll have a higher percentage chance of getting more players and more alliances in to said kingdom, and they can kind of start rebuilding things in their image. And again, this is what I would argue is kind of like a little bit of a pro tip. However, again, you also have to wait to see if these kingdoms will come around for you to be able to migrate into them, right? And so you may not be able to do that until the same season migration ends up hitting, which will be post the mid-June update. With that in mind, even though I'm not going to sit here and give away everything, of course, I wanted to at least take the time to explain a couple little tips that I think and a couple reasons on why I could see one way for things working out. Now, of course, there is a number of things that they can do to kind of approach and kind of, I don't want to say deal, but address the kind of dead kingdoms, but it really comes down to, like, do they want to, right? It's funny because someone was telling me once that it costs them money to keep these servers up, right, even though they're kind of dead and very inactive. And I'll just say, if that is true, then getting rid of servers / kingdoms to reduce overall cost from a company doesn't seem like that bad of a thing to do, especially if you're at least waiting a period of time until you know without a shadow of a doubt that, okay, there's like these kingdoms are not coming back anytime soon. And on top of, if you wait at least 2 migration seasons or cycles, it also still gives dead kingdoms an opportunity to be utilized, just not utilized forever, right? Utilized more within a window. So anyways, those are my thoughts. I'd love to hear what you think. You agree, you disagree, you got a different approach? Let me know in the comments down below. That's going to do it for me. Also, what other kind of top 25 data would you like to see from kingdoms? And I know this is a new I don't want to say series, but a new data set within our top 25 series, and I very much liked doing this. So again, hopefully you guys enjoy this one. That's going to do it for me. As always, until next time, I'll catch y'all later.